Hey guys, what's up? This is Pantsar Dragon, and today we'll be doing the top 5 best AD carries for solo queue. In this video we'll be having some honorable mentions, so hopefully you guys like the addition to just 5 AD carries. In this patch, Kalista did get a nerf, but in my opinion it was a pretty big nerf to the attack speed Kalista build you've been seeing that were popular, and because of that we have to redo the top 5 best AD carries for solo queue. And now with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so at number 5 is going to be Draven. Alright, so you guys are probably wondering, why is Draven in this tier list? Well, honestly, before I haven't seen him that much, but when I do nowadays, I do see him doing fairly good, and he has extremely high snowball potential since he does have those adoration stacks. So if he does get a kill in lane or the jungler comes and ganks for his lane, the enemy is probably going to have a hard time. And even though Bloodthirster did get nerfed like in season 4, the new Bloodthirster is still pretty good on him as it does give him extra survivability. In teamfights he does output a lot of damage when he does have those spinning axes, and he can outplay most gap closers with his E. The only con about Draven is that he has an extremely high skill cap, since you have to constantly catch the axes and move yourself into a position where you can, making him a very micro intensive champion. Honestly, you'd probably only play him if you're good at him, so if you're just an average AD carry, don't play him. Next up at number 4 we do have Corky. So Corky is probably my AD carry to play when I have to fill the role. I know if you do main AD carry role and you do play him, he's still pretty good and useful, but why does someone like me, who doesn't play AD carry that much, find him the best for, say, someone who doesn't play that role? The reason being is because I don't know how to lane with champions like Kalista or even Jinx. I'm not sure how the certain lane matchups are supposed to be played, and thus that means I tend to lose the lane more. But Corky does have pretty good base damage with his Q and his R, and thus I can be useful as long as I get levels. Poke poke poke, sorceries, and Gatling gun people down. Of course this is coming from a behind perspective. When he is ahead he's definitely way more dominant and does a lot of damage. Just watch out when casting your W in lane because it does cost a lot of mana. Next at number 3 we do have Jinx. So the reason Jinx is here is because of her incredible mid-game to late-game scaling. The way she has 700 range at level 9, and the AD scaling on her W is incredibly strong along with the base damage coming from it. But basically, having 700 range in mid-game and late-game teamfights makes her a long-range AD carry and also gives her splash damage, plus making her auto attacks do 10% more increased damage. Her W is also a really good poke, so if you are sieging the enemy and you need to poke him down, you'll do quite a bit of damage and also at a relatively safe distance. And of course, one of the best things in her kit is her finisher, which is her ultimate. It's global and it does a ton of damage when the enemies are low. She may not be good at 1v1 dueling most AD carries, but in teamfights, if she stays alive and she keeps doing her damage, she's eventually going to kill your team. Of course, sometimes you probably don't want to pick Jinx into a lot of hard CC or divers onto the enemy team since they can easily kill you if you don't have your flash or QSS, so it can be dangerous to play her in some games. Now if she gets ahead and you have nothing to stop her, well, your game is probably going to be Dunzo Calrissian. Next up at number 2 is going to be Graves. So Graves has been good for a while, and he's always had a great early game and mid game, being like an AD caster and contributing to some team wombo combos. But recently I think there's going to be a new build with him, since recently Infinity Edge did get nerfed, and with that being said, I think Bloodthirster is going to be the new item build on Graves. And what does that mean? Well, he's going to be really tanky because of his passive. He's going to do the same amount of damage since both items do give 80 damage, and he's going to just be this AD carry in the back who is going to kill your whole team and lifesteal off them all. Even if that build doesn't get popular, he's still going to use Infinity Edge and be a standard AD carry, or even the AD caster build with Ghostblade. And yeah, he's still pretty good right now, definitely one of the most popular champions at the moment, so he's here at number 2. And still at number 1 is going to be Sivir. The reason she is here at number 1 is because of her ultimate, and some other things, but mainly her ultimate. This skill is pretty good when you're behind, or even better when you're ahead. This ability lets your team kite the enemy if they're trying to engage on you, and disengage better, or of course engage onto the enemy team and hunt them down. Her W is also a fantastic skill for teamfights and wave clearing, and it is also one of the few skills that does give an auto attack reset beside Lucian's E and Vayne's Tumble. Although that's not really saying much, but it is kinda cool to know. And her spell shield is one of the best defensive moves that an AD carry can have, so she is honestly a great AD carry to play at the moment. Her laning phase isn't special, but beyond that, it does get pretty good. Next up we'll be doing some honorable mentions, and the first one is going to be Kalista. I believe she's still good, but honestly with the attack speed nerf, I think, you know, the Runons, all these attack speed builds going into her don't work as well as they used to because of that attack speed nerf kind of thing, where it does take longer to wind up her next auto attack, which means she can't kite people as well as she could before. There is a standard AD carry build where she could just go Bloodthirster or IE into Phantom Dancer, but at the moment I'm just not 100% sure about her right now. Next up is going to be kog'maw. So this person right here is probably going to be my second AD carry to pick from instead of Corky. The reason being, scales really well into mid and late game because of his ultimate doing a lot of base damage, while also having that maximum % health damage so he can shred tanks and other people. He's also pretty easy to play in my opinion, just sit back, press W, and attack whoever's in front of you. Although he is susceptible to divers, just like Jinx, he can output a lot of damage if he's not touched. Hey guys, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did enjoy this video, maybe you'll like some other tier lists, as it's going to be top 5 best junglers, top 5 best mid laners, and top 5 best supports, although that one's for 5.2, but it's basically the same if I were to remake it right about now. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy my insight and the information I gave you, subscribe right there. It's free, it's easy, and it's one click away. And yes, that's about it. I'll see you guys next time.